Hi, my name is Simon and welcome to my YouTube channel, Simon Plots. In the first episode of this channel, I talked about this Christmas card and how I designed and plotted it for my family's Christmas card in 2024. In this episode, I am going to talk to you about the competition prize that I won off the back of submitting that video into a competition to win another pen plotter. That competition was run by UUNA TEK, and the competition prizes were some A3 pen plotters, a slightly upgraded version of this one, or an A0 pen plotter. And thank you very much to UUNA TEK for choosing my video to be the competition winner for the A0 pen plotter. I am really excited, and this at the back here is that pen plotter, and today's video is going to be about unboxing it, setting it up, plotting something with it, and the experiences along the way. Let's go. Right, so here we go. Let's open this up and see what we've got inside. This has been sitting here for about 4 weeks, I think, trying to find time to do this video. Okay, so in here we've got a quick start guide for iDraw pen plotters. May have to pause this in order to go and watch some of the construction things in a bit. Take off the first layer of packaging. Then we can see that we've got some of the support struts, and this is the cable guide for the X-axis, I think. What have we got here? This looks like a load of tools, so a USB cable, various spanners, Allen keys and cable ties. Start to take this all out. Wow, it's all connected together. Okay, that's not connected together. Okay, that looks like one of the main bits of the basement. That might just be connected to the other side of the cable guide. Let me see if I can get that all out in one go. Yes, there we go. Work. So this is going to move that way, and then this is the guide for the other direction. Move that a little bit on so it's not going to fall off the table. Okay, then we've got some other very large pieces here. We've still got some of the runners on very long bars. Okay, all right, that all comes out in one go there. There's nothing else in here. There's this. I think this might possibly the power supply. Okay, right. Let's put the cardboard box out of the way. Quite well packaged. Got to give it to them. Okay, that's all right. That's got a belt on it, so maybe we'll leave that. Okay. I think these are separate parts, but they're all held together by the polystyrene. Okay, there we go. Please power on first before moving XY carriage. Little notes here on this part. Plug-in connector for the Y. This is the Z motor. The Z motor is the one that drops the pen, obviously. They're kind of slightly tangled together. I'm back in for a moment. Okay, so which one is this? This is Y2 motor. The Y1 motor. Oh, okay. You can see that there are some micro switches for the home detection. So we've got a Y1 and Y2. Oh, and this must be the X motor over here. Okay, let's try and put some of this together. I think we're gonna have to spin all of this around. Okay, is that gonna fit? Oh my goodness, it's not gonna fit on the biggest table I have in the house. Well, that's annoying. What do I do about that? I think we can probably assemble it anyway. Let's try. Right, I think what we'll do is we'll leave that off the edge for now, and we'll try and bolt this all together. It's so big. It's so big. I honestly thought that it would fit really happily on here, but it's not going to. Okay, and then these ones go with the motor on the outside. And we'll have to bolt these ones in individually in a bit, and then this goes on top of the whole caboodle. Right, so we can put that there like so. Let's start having a look through our tools. So we should have, I think, 2 each for each of the ends. So we should have 8 of these big ones, or 10. Okay, maybe we've got some more for something else. We've got 2 little ones, which I think are for the pen holder tools. So we've got a whole load of different sizes of Allen key. So let's start putting together these ends. So the instructions seem to say don't do it too tight initially. So I'm just going to put these most of the way in, but not tighten them up. Okay. Do the other side to make sure it doesn't fall off. Ah, right. So this rubber here should go through this slot here. So let's take those back out. So here we go. Got that there. So now we've got the rubber going through that metal plate. Right, so as I said before, I'm not going to do these all the way up. Let's do the other end. So on this end, I've already put the rubber bit through. Okay, great. So that's not going to fall apart. Let's come around. So on this one, a little bit more complicated. Right, let's put this one into there like so. Okay. Right, and then we'll do the other end. And a little bit of rubber through again. Hopefully this is all right. Final bolt down this end. So now we can put on the x-axis. So the x-axis motor lives at this end, and it goes on here and on there, like so. So we'll just put that next to it, and then we need to take these nuts off, these ones off. Only the ones nearest come with a washer. Interesting. Okay, let's go around here and try and take the other bolts off over here. On the side, these are big thumb turn bolts. Okay, so we've got all of those off. Let's put this on now. Both ends. It's really interesting. That sits there, it doesn't have a lot of play on it at all. Nuts back on again. On the inside, need the washers back on the top. Okay, great. So I'm going to tighten these ones up fairly tight, I think. Like I said earlier, there's not a lot of play in this. Around to the other side. Same process. Get this all back together again. Alright, washer on the front one. And out one and out two. I see. So this is both the different y-axis motors. Okay. Alright, so down here we've got a metal. We've got a bit of metal here, a frame, and I think that probably connects this bit of kind of caterpillar wire guide onto it. Okay, yeah, that's much more firm now, so that's not going to, so that can still go off the table, but it's not going to go very far off the table. That feels a lot safer. Let's take, I think we can't really go on that side because of the laser, the pen, so maybe it goes on this side. Let's open up the ends and see if we can figure it out. Oh, okay. Let's take this off and see if we can figure it out. This is not in the guides I've seen so far, these trays, so... Okay, here we go. Right, so let's see. Where does this go? That must be That must go over the top. No, can't be right. So I think, does that go there and there? Then how do you get the laser on? Does the laser go on underneath or something? Okay, we'll figure that out later. Okay, and then this must go here somewhere. And there it is at the top left-hand corner of that Z motor. And then that goes onto it like that. Okay, great. So it's basically, this is definitely right. Let's get the bottom bit bolted on first. Get the spanner back out again. Let's do this little bit in the middle. So we'll put this bit in here and put that in like that. Right, and then we plug our X motor in like that. Great. Now, where does this go? Got a bundle of wires here. Which all come out off the back of here, and then I think this looks like this caterpillar track looks like it's going to bolt onto here, and then the cables are going to go to the various different places. Take this off. Okay, there it goes. Put that on there. There it is. Okay, got a few different cables here. These ones are contact switch, then we've got the X motor, and we've got the in. So let's put the X motor goes into the splitter where the 2Y motor is come out of. It lives here. Okay, there we go. Great. And they all look like they're not going to get too much in the way, but we will see, and if they do, we'll come back and put some more cable clips on them. Contact switch, that's actually underneath here, the two connectors for that. That one's the X there, and the other one's the Y. I think these all reach around this way. Yeah, okay, great. So, put that one in there, give it a bit of a shove. Oh. The Y. There we go. We've got one last bit to put in, which is the pen holder. So let's put that in now. Yeah, this can go in any one of these holes. Well, not any one, but certainly either of the top two. I'm going to put it here. This one up. So that is in there like that, and we'll be able to put pens in, and that's going to drop down like that in order to start writing on the bit of paper. This one wire over here, look, got a Y2 motor cable which we need to put in as well. And that would have been a lot easier to undo before we put this on. So we've got this Y2 motor, and that'll just come around and connect in here like so. Beautiful. Right, so we're pretty much finished assembling now. Let us get some power plugged in. So this is the power block. And on the side, you can see the power, and I think this connector at the top is for the laser, and then this connector at the bottom is the USB one. So let's plug that into the power, put the USB cable in the bottom. This is a little Raspberry Pi with a screen that I've got. This is what I use for controlling the plotter. There we go, just like that. So then we need some power for these things. Now the other one had a switch. Can't see an on-off switch for this, but I can see there's a little light flashing inside. Booting maybe? Loading up or waiting? Okay. Don't know whether that's loading or not loading, but we'll find out in due course, I guess. Right, so we've got some power. Now what we haven't done is tighten up the bolts at the end here. I'm going to do that in a moment. I'm just going to check that this all moves smoothly. In the other direction, this whole carriageway. Let's get the big Allen key and tighten all of this up. So there we have it. It's fairly sturdy. Like I say, it's too big to fit on the kitchen table, which is a bit of a problem. So I think we're going to have to move to the floor. Maybe I will move the table out of the way and we can plot on the floor. This is my A3 one, not A4, this is an A3 pen plotter, and it is considerably smaller than this bad boy here. So let's put that one outside, maybe behind it for now, whew, and plug it all back in again. On the other one, the top right hand corner, I think would be over here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the carriage to this direction and see whether I can plot an A3 plot that I already have. No, doesn't like that very much. Might be because it's changed port. So I use this Raspberry Pi and I send G-code directly to the plotter. I don't use Inkscape at all anymore, although I used to when I first started doing this. But now I generally generate all my G-code with VPipe. I'll show you that process a little bit later with the plot that I actually want to do today. But for the purposes of testing, I wonder what is going on here. Might have to do some debugging. All right, resorting to debugging on my laptop now. Okay, so I can see that it used to use USB 0 with my main script. And what ones do we have now? ACM 0, maybe? Let's try changing the script to use that. Bloody Vi. ACM, okay. Let's try that. All right, it lives. So this will just be plotting a little A3 thing over in this corner, but it is doing the plotting nonetheless. So we got it working, which is great. Seems to be working pretty well so far. A little bit of detail. Time to stop this and maybe give it a pen. I just went out to the shops a little while ago to go and buy paper and I couldn't find any A0 paper, which is a little bit disappointing. So we're going to be doing a demo with A1 paper instead today, but hopefully that will prove just as fun. And I'm going to try and plot the Schotter piece, which is one of the most famous generative art pieces. And someone recently posted an SVG onto Reddit. So I'm going to get that SVG, convert it into G-code, and then try and plot it in A1 using this plotter. Probably a little bit faster than this, otherwise we might be here for a while. So let's download the Schotter. So this guy on Reddit wanted to commission this, which is a really famous piece. I'll put this link below. And now I've got an A0 plotter, I can do this at a decent size. And he's made an SVG of it, which is here. So let's download that and have a look at it. Rename that to take the TXT extension off the end. Use UCS. Okay, and if we open that, this looks pretty good to me. It doesn't have the text bit, but that's all right. But it's got a border as well, which is interesting. So let's have a quick look at that in Inkscape, even though we're not going to use Inkscape for plotting. Okay, and let's have a look at the dimensions of this. So what is 762 by 1219? So this is considerably bigger than A1. what I'm keen to do is get this reframed. So let's use vpipe. Now you can use vpipe to resize a piece. So let's try and do that. We're going to resize it. So we're going to read a file, and then we're going to resize it. And it should be already the right way around. We want it to be in a portrait. So page size, change the current page size A1. And then we're going to write that back out to another SVG, which we will leave in Schotter A1.svg. So let's just do that for now. Okay, and that has completely messed it up because the page size is now a lot smaller. So we actually need to resize the artwork as well. And we can do that with layout. So rather than page size, let's just do layout, and we'll lay it out onto an A1 off the top and the bottom. So it's centered it, but it hasn't given it enough margin, particularly on the top and bottom. So let's sort that out. So we can do that by adding a fit to margins. Now that is looking really excellent, I think. So it's got the original page layout. So I wonder if that's on a different page. So that's a background layer. So we've got all of these other ones on other layers. Layer 264. Interestingly enough, I think if we just did fit to margins, does that work? 0 centimeters. Yeah, so now that's got it at the top and bottom. So that's using the margins of the existing file. And then if we do that with a layer delete, so L delete 2 maybe. Oh, hang on, the A1 needs to be up here. No such option layer. Maybe it's just L delete 2. Am I missing one of the squares now? Maybe there is no layer 2. Layer 1 is not a... Yes, now we've got rid of the outside square. Brilliant. So then the next thing we need to do is convert it into G-code. So that should be simple enough. Rather than writing out as an SVG, we just need to put include my vpipe configuration file, which I've got in that directory, I think, and then we need to do gwrite with a profile of the iDraw v2, and then we need to put in Schotter a1.gcode. Like so. Gcode file, there we go, 40K in size. For reference, my vpipe.toml looks like this. And this basically gives the G-code that it needs to convert. And if we want to change the travel speed, then we can probably do that in here by increasing this. So at the moment, when it's pen up, we move at 8,000, and when it's pen down, we move at 2,000. That's millimeters a minute. So let's just edit that now. So it seems to actually only be one place. So here we go. So let's just change that to 4,000 so we double the speed. Okay, then let's rerun this, and then we can validate that by having a look. And we can see it's moving, and then when it puts the pen down, it's using F4000. So 8,000 when the pen's up, 4,000 when the pen is down. Now, one other thing before we do this, I'm just going to put one other optimization in here, and that will minimize the pen up distance. So let's copy that onto our Raspberry Pi, ready to plot. Okay, so we've got that now. We'll move this back into the corner and into this corner over here. Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Basically, as long as there's enough space for an A1, then we're golden. Okay, so let's see what that does. Off it goes. Try not to get eaten by the machine. It looks like it's making a square. Time to give it a pen and some paper, I think. Right, here we go. This is the folder that I bought today in order to get some paper So we've got two options. We can do it on white or we can do it on black. I think, given the original was sort of beige paper colour, we should do it on a sheet of white. So here's a sheet of cartridge paper. On my old one, on this pen plotter, I use magnets to hold it down. With this one, I can't do that because the floor is not magnetic. Okay. I've got to get it straight. Again, on the A3 one, it's got a grid, so it makes it very easy to get it straight with everything. On this one, it's not so easy to do that. Making the frame square with the laminate flooring, so that then I can make the paper square with the laminate flooring as well. Yeah, that looks good. Right, got some masking tape. Let's put a little bit of masking tape down on the corners. Just need to hold it down to stop it moving around. And then the question is, how big a black pen do we use? So with a little bit of playing, I think I'm just going to go with a standard black Sharpie. I've got a 0.8 jelly roll here, but at the scale of an A1 piece of paper, 0.8 mil isn't really very big. So I'm going to go for this and we'll see how we get on. We'll put the pen in here. Try not to draw on the laminate flooring. Although, good use for an A1 pen plotter. Draw on the laminate flooring. Question is my floor flat? I think it probably is flat enough. I'll bring that in there. So I'm just lining the pen up perfectly in the corner, the top right corner of the bit of paper. And we've got the plot. Let's see how this goes. Oh no. Okay, didn't work. The pen is not quite low enough down, and I think, interestingly enough, that is because the floor is not flat. It is much lower in the middle over here. So this is not the fault of the pen plotter, this is the fault of the floor. Let's shift the pen plotter. I've got a ruler here. Let's see, is it actually not that flat? Yeah, that's interesting. So there's a little bit of a high patch just here. And I happen to know that's because there are some radiator pipes underneath. So let's going to move this whole enterprise in this direction. I'm just going to push this over and see whether it's a bit more consistent this time. This is quite a good learning experience. You need a flat basement for this, and probably one with grid lines on. Power's back on. Take two. Okay, this is looking a bit better. Thickness of the pen looks about right. Nice! Looks good. For a first time, for a first plot, I'm really pleased with that. I think that looks fantastic. There we go, what do we think about that? I think that would look great up on the wall somewhere. Could cut the ends off slightly if we wanted to, just in order to make it the same proportions of paper as it originally was. But that I'm pretty happy with as a very first cut. So there you go, that is the A0 UUNA TEK iDraw 2 pen plotter. Compared to my A3, it's obviously much bigger. It's much more stable because it's got the motors on both the sides. It is huge I cannot express how big this thing is. Like, it won't fit on my kitchen table. I honestly don't know where I'm going to keep it. Going to figure that out in the next hour or so as I tidy up. But it's going to be a joy to use. I have not used laser engraving yet, but I would like to do that, and I'm kind of intrigued by the sort of size of stencils and other things that I'll be able to make with this much bigger version of the pen plotter. Please subscribe if you're interested in more content like this. I have a plan for another video, which is me hooking a joystick up to a pen plotter. I've been playing around with joystick controlled pen plotting for a while. If you want to see what I've been up to, then subscribe to the channel, and you'll find out as soon as I release that next video. Thank you very much for watching today, especially if you're here right to the end, and I hope that you enjoy your pen plotting adventures as much as I am.